What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Lakers got a huge win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, moving to 6 games over 500 for the first time in literal years. And it's really great, right? Lakers seem to kind of be hitting their stride. Hopefully, we're going to find out. We have a big game coming up, or 2 big games really coming up. And the Lakers could potentially be in the 7 seed by this time next week if the Lakers handle business and do what they need to do. Anthony Davis was absolutely spectacular. I mean, like literally historically great. First player in NBA history with the stat line that he had. Gave you 27 points, 25 rebounds. He had 10 offensive rebounds, which was huge. 5 assists, 7 steals, 3 blocks. The guy he did everything. Everything you could ask for on both sides of the basketball. And look, I know many people look at that and go, well, that's what Anthony Davis should have done, right? No Rudy Gobert, no Karl Anthony Towns. And yes, to an extent, I do agree, right? Anthony Davis was supposed to be absolutely dominant going up against guys like Garza and, Naz Reid. Anthony Davis did his job. But let's not pretend like Anthony Davis hasn't done really well against guys like Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Davis has had his success against those guys. And now, would he have given you, 25 rebounds? Probably not, because he would have had a lot more fight down there with a Rudy Gobert as well as a Karl Anthony Towns. The 27 points, I still think he could have done. The steals, all that stuff, I still believe those could have all happened. The rebounding probably would have came down slightly. But even beyond that, right? Anthony Davis has success against most teams and most centers on any given night. The guy's like, second or third in rebounding. He's putting up, like, if the Lakers were in a better position and they weren't the, 9th seed, Anthony Davis might be at least in the conversation for MVP and definitely Defensive Player of the Year. Right? Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the league. I mean, just look at the numbers, look at what he does and the impact he has. Look at how much ground that guy covers, all of it. Rudy Gobert's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, and it's just because, again, you look at Minnesota, they have one of the best defenses in the league. They're a good team. That's usually how it goes, right? But it's not just Rudy Gobert. I mean, defensively, they've been great. McDaniels is arguably the best on-ball defender in the league, right? Like, there's a lot in the favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves, where Anthony Davis is basically just him, especially in that starting 5, basically AD, and that's it. And he's doing everything he can to hold things down. But the greatness of Anthony Davis still begs a lot of questions against the big European type centers. The Lakers take on the Sacramento Kings in a matchup where Anthony Davis is 0-9 against Sabonis. The narrative of Anthony Davis cannot beat the Sabonis, the Jokic's of the world. Anthony Davis just really struggles mightily against those guys. And when you're talking about Sabonis and Jokic, they are 2 very unique, very different skill set centers, unlike anyone else, right? Because, in a lot of ways, Sabonis is kind of like a poor man's Jokic in the skill set, being able to run your offense through him, the impact plays. Jokic is like another level. It's insane how good he is. And so it's understandable that Anthony Davis has his struggles against Jokic. Sabonis, I can understand him having his struggles, but 0-9, getting absolutely dominated on a regular basis, it's shocking almost. Because Anthony, you think of the top centers in the league or just the top big men, period. It's like Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. Again, I'm talking big men, period. And then Anthony Davis. Who else is there? Sabonis maybe is top 5, top 7, somewhere in that ballpark. But you would imagine at least there would be battles, right? You'd imagine that there'd at least be, Sabonis got the best of him this time, but man, Anthony Davis got the best of him the last 2 times or whatever, right? Not every single time Sabonis gets the best of Anthony Davis. That's where the problem lies. That's where the issue is. And Anthony Davis needs to start changing that narrative, changing that discussion, right? Of like, I can dominate a Sabonis. I can dominate a Zubac. I can dominate a Jokic, right? Like, those are the things that if he can start to get over the hump on these guys, I really do think that it could push the Lakers into another gear. And the beauty of Anthony Davis yesterday in that Timberwolves game was the aggression, the assertiveness, the I'm going to do and get whatever I want, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. That's the Anthony Davis we need to see regardless, right? Like, bad games happen, bad moments happen. Like I said, if Anthony Davis had the game he had against Sabonis last time, but it was like even just tie. Let's say like that was the tiebreaker, and Sabonis is now 5-4 against AD. But you look at AD stats against him, and you're like, oh man, the dude is. It's AD's dominated that matchup for the most part, right? Like, I would be completely different, right? I'd feel a completely different type of way. But guess what? That's not the case. Sabonis is 9-0 against Anthony Davis, and Sabonis usually has some great success against Anthony Davis. I mean, he put up triple-double last time. I mean, Anthony Davis needs to start taking this stuff personally. He needs to start going out there and going, you know what? Yes, you're an incredible center, but you're not me. You're not Anthony Davis. You're not the dominant force that I am, that can do everything, score the basketball, dominate inside, hit the mid-range, hit the elbow, knock down the occasional three, be the versatile defensive, offensive, two-way big man that I am. I need to see that from Anthony Davis. I get guys like Sabonis and Jokic. They're tough matchups for anybody because they are so skilled and they are such a threat in the pass game. They are a threat on the block, right? It's hard to kind of get a pulse on what they're going to do. Where most centers you look at, they're usually kind of either one-dimensional or they're a little more predictable, right? They're trying to use their athleticism to go over the top, or they're trying to spread the floor, or they're not great passers. So like when they get the ball, all you really have to worry about is them, just trying to go over the top on you. Where Sabonis and guys like Jokic, it's a completely different matter for Anthony Davis because AD, being basically the only defensive guy in the starting unit, has to worry about the matchup in front of him, but also everyone else. And so you're in this position where it's like, okay, I don't know what Sabonis is about to do right now. Is there somebody cutting behind me that he's about to dump it off to? Is he about to turn around and do that little like one-legged fadeaway? Is he about to, pull a hook shot? Is he about to use the footwork? I need to stay grounded and make sure I don't bite. Like, it's the bag that some of these guys have, the fundamentals that some of these guys have, right? That's where the issue lies. That's where the problem lies, at least in my opinion, for Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis, he's got to figure that matchup up, right? He's got to figure out how to make the adjustments and how to overcome these Sabonis, Jokic face-offs. And the way I see him doing it is the aggression. Being aggressive to the level that you saw against Minnesota, that you've seen against teams like the Thunder. And yes, like a lot of that is like he doesn't have somebody that's matching up size-wise and can be physical backwards, but sometimes you just got to go through it. And you'd be surprised what opens up and how things change when the first time you do it. Because now the teams and guys like Sabonis and Jokic now have to look at you different and have to defend you different and have to approach the game different, right? When they know, oh, well, just keep doing what you're doing. You're 9-0 against the guy. You don't have to change any of that. You're not making Sabonis have to adapt. You're not making Sabonis have to change. You're not making Sabonis have to figure you out. He's already got you figured out. But you start getting into his chest. You start being assertive. You start using your advantages, such as your athleticism and the tools, the physicality, and and your skills on the offensive side of things to really start putting pressure on Sabonis, getting him into foul trouble, doing the things that you need to do. I mean, Sabonis fouls out like every other game. Yet, when he plays against the Lakers, he's fine. Because Anthony Davis isn't aggressive. He's not assertive. He's not out there trying to dominate that matchup. Dominate that matchup, and all of a sudden, watch everything change. Anthony Davis goes into Sacramento. I'm not saying he has to go drop 27 and 25 or anything like that, but you go drop 25 and 12, Lakers win that game in Sacramento, right? You have Sabonis in foul trouble. You clearly look like the aggressor in that matchup. You'd be amazed how quickly everything just starts to change and how the conversation shifts. And Anthony Davis's confidence can build. I need to see that from AD. And I need to see that like as soon as that Kings game on Wednesday. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Agree with me? Disagree with me? How do you feel about my points? Think that that's a problem? No, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Do you think Anthony Davis can dominate that matchup? Do you think that it would change the narrative, the conversation with him? Let me know. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.